everyone, welcome in, welcome in. This is Dessert Before Dinner, where we serve you the sweetest information first. I'm Diva, and I'm here with my fantastic co-host. I can never say that.
You do that every you do that every time.
I know. I want to say, I don't know. But anyway, thank you guys for coming in. We really appreciate you, and we're very, very excited about tonight's episode.
All right, guys, and also this is our third episode of the podcast, which is super cool. If you missed the last one, go check it out on YouTube, Dessert Before Dinner, where we interviewed a guy that we know, a friend of ours named Coach Cape, on his road to 500 followers, and how he uses more of a theatrical, cinematic experience for his viewers. And if you haven't seen our podcast before on YouTube, go give it a like, leave a comment on one of the videos, and we'd love it if you subscribed.
So I'm going to introduce our lovely guest today. If you are looking for a spooky but chill vibe, then have your spoons ready because you are in for a treat. Cookie is a horror streamer on Twitch. She describes herself as an open-closed book that is an advocate for mental health and super supportive to everyone around her.
Yeah.
Everyone, welcome Cookie. And really quick, let's talk about your name. Go ahead, you say your actual gamer tag for me, and then kind of tell me how you came up with it, because I mean it's a cool name.
So my name is Cucchiainoo. I know a lot of people can't say it, and I'll be honest, to this day I still wish I could have changed it to something else. But the thing is like, everyone asks about my name, like, why is there a name that? I don't know. Like, I don't have a reason. It was literally, I joined Discord with my friend, and she got me into it because she was just easier to talk to her there. And I wanted like a random name like everybody else had. They all had like these cool names and all this stuff. And then I couldn't think of anything. And I took Italian for like 6 years, and it was just a word I always said because I thought it was funny. And yep, I made it my name, and now I'm kind of stuck with it because I didn't expect to be here. But I just, at this point, most of the time, people are like, I don't know how to say your name. I'm like, Cookie or Danny.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We were just so worried that we were going to completely botch your name, and we're like, we're just going to let her say it.
Yeah, most people do. Even when I say it, normally they'll say it back, and it's still wrong. So it's like...
Yeah.
Just call me something different. I'm fine with it. Nobody, literally, you'll rarely hear anybody I know or any of my friends call me by Cucchiainoo. Nobody does it. Only those who are like really happy that they can say it.
Yeah. I love it though.
No, it's good.
I appreciate it.
I like it. It's so creative. It's great. Really.
Oh, thank you.
So, what are some of your favorite games to play?
I'll be honest, it changes a lot because I started with streaming and all I played with my one friend was Phasmophobia. That was it. It was once a week I streamed and we played it every week, never changed it up. And then at some point we ended up playing like Left 4 Dead 2 a little bit and then went back to Phasmophobia anyways. And then now, since I have all these people that I get to play with all the time, I play a bunch of Lethal Company.
Heck yeah.
Currently play a bunch of Pal World. And then, yeah. And somehow Fortnite got mixed in with it. I don't know how it happened. It was just one of those, everybody plays it. But
right.
I will say I'm always going to have a sweet spot for Phasmophobia and The Forest. Always.
Ooh, The Forest is
They were like, my games.
I have never played it, but I have watched many of streamers play that game.
I love that game. That was like the first game I sat there and played and got like sucked into because I really love building in games. Like even in like Pal World and stuff for once I get to my third base where I can kind of just be more free with it and I have stuff to like build, I'm gonna go so ham on that. I can't wait.
Yeah. That's fun stuff. So then was a PC like your first actual gaming console then? Or did you have? Were you a console player before of any sort?
As a kid, all we played was Wii. Like
Okay.
that was like our thing was playing the Wii. Um, my brother and my cousins kind of grew out of it and went into like Xbox and PlayStation. I was still there for my Wii all the time. I liked the games and stuff, but I never really thought I was someone that was going to be like into gaming like that, so I wasn't super interested in having an Xbox or a PlayStation just because they're expensive. So I was like, how much am I going to use it?
Right.
Right.
But like the only things I've ever played games on would be like the Wii and my DS. And then other than that, I had occasionally playing a game with my brother on like his PlayStation, but I didn't really play games. And then I really wanted to, I was big on editing because I made a lot
Yeah.
of YouTube videos in general. And I used to make short films. So I wanted a PC for that.
Okay.
And then I also started playing games with my friend. So I was like, well, hey, it'll run games better. Who knows? Maybe I could stream too. And bought the PC and we're here. Yeah.
Hey, there's only one way to like, learn something new and figure out if you like it or don't like it. It's to get it and try it. So, and now it's probably the only
Nice.
console you use, isn't it? Do you even play Wii
Oh,
anymore?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like I would if I had friends that would want to like
Sure.
come here and play with my like the Wii. 100% would love to, because I still love the Wii. Still got a sweet spot for it. But
yeah.
no, PC. It's all I do every day of my life. So
Yeah. No. 100%. 100%. Oh man. Well, I guess we could probably start like getting into your background and your history of like how you got streaming, because I know that's gonna be like one of the first topic I want to go into though. It's like, what is your why? Why did you start streaming? Why do you do what you do? And obviously we got to talk to you a little bit the other day, to kind of prep for this a little bit, but we didn't go into all the good details. But I mean, you've had an incredible journey because you've only been streaming for probably a little over a year, and I think that 0 to 1.1K followers, 1,100 followers on Twitch in like about a year. That's impressive. I mean, not a lot of people can do that, and I think that your story goes a lot into that, but how much it sounds like you care about people goes a lot into that. So tell us, what's your why and how'd you get started?
it's always interesting because when people ask, "Oh, how long have you been streaming?" I'm like, technically, I've been streaming for 2 years, but the first year was like no social media, had
Right.
nothing, didn't tell a soul that I had it. It was really just my friend. Her name is Dragonspire. She is my IRL friend. She is also technically a gaming friend because I play with her every week. But she lives down the street from me. She's my best friend. So, she wanted to get back into streaming back in 2021. Yes, back in 2021. She wanted to get back into streaming. And I had a little laptop that could run Phasmophobia. It was a game that she like made me play on her computer. And she's like, I think you'd really like it. And I did. And I bought it, and it was able to run on my computer, even though it was horribly laggy. It was just like the one thing I could play. And we even, to like in the summer in 2021, 5 a.m., we were playing Town of Salem.
Oh,
And
heck
that was
yeah.
like, oh my God. We played throughout the summer, my whole summer was playing Town of Salem with her because it's such a small game that you can just sit there and play. And in October of 2021, when she was starting streaming, I told her, like, let's play once a week. On Mondays, we'll play Phasmophobia, and I'll play with you, just so she can, like, get into streaming again. And we did that, and my computer started getting a little wonky, and I was like, you know what? All I've done my whole life is save my money, so I'm going to buy an entire PC. And I had my boyfriend at the time was someone who was into like building computers and super into all of that. So he put everything together, told me everything I would need, and I basically just said, here's the money. And he bought everything, put the whole thing together, and I got my PC. And in like end of December, it was kind of like my Christmas gift because he helped pay for it too. So it was like my Christmas gift in 2021. And then in January of 2022 was the first time I streamed. It was Phasmophobia, and it was once a week. We wanted my perspective. We thought it would be fun to make clips and stuff. I had no camera, nothing. It was literally just to see my point of view, and to like laugh at it later. And then I obviously, like, when you just stream, even if you're not promoting yourself, you'll get people to click on it occasionally. So in
Right.
that year, I gained like 30 followers or something.
Right.
'cause nobody knew anything. I didn't put it anywhere. I didn't want anybody to be there either. It was just, yeah, I was really anxious, which is why I never used a camera in the beginning, is I was very anxious about like people seeing me because I'm like self-conscious, so it was kind
Sure.
of scary. But because it was a horror game, we thought it would be funny to see my face because I get jump scared a lot, so we thought it would be
Yeah.
funny, and that's why I used the face cam. But then it got to January of 2023, and I was going through a really hard place, and especially in like my relationship, and my boyfriend at the time was gone for like a week. For some reason, I took that as like an opportunity of like time to myself, and I was like, I'm gonna try this streaming thing. I'm almost
Yeah.
at 50 followers. Like, let me just go for it. And I went ham on Twitter. I met all of these people immediately. Like, some of these people right now in chat and stuff, I've met them that like first week that I just went on Twitter. And honestly, since then, that's all it's been, is that I used Twitter. I talked to people who were in the same spot as me, who were trying to get where I was trying to get, happened to actually make friends along the way, like people, of course, who support you, people who like you bounce off each other to support each other, but then also actually meeting friends. And that's really like how it's just such a weird story of how I got here, because like it sounds like I didn't want to be here, because at first I wasn't, there was no plan to be here.
Yeah.
And then it was like this, like when I felt like I had nothing, like I don't want to say I had nothing left, but I didn't have like a drive for anything. And when he left for that week, it just felt like it was an opportunity for me to like do something different and kind of get stuff together, and streaming, I guess, was one of those things.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. Like, that's just so fun to me because like a lot of people they have, I want to say, I don't say an alternative motive, like it's a bad thing, but like a lot of people like, I want to stream, I want to make money like playing games. Like that's why a lot of people are for the first time like hit that go live, and you just have such a different reason behind that. You're like, yeah, I was just like playing with some friends and they thought it'd be funny to scare the heck out of me. I'm just like, that's so great. Like that's
Yeah.
so cool. Oh man. Now I want to like touch on a big thing I think that you said, because I think that a lot of people that stream, or that they get started in streaming, I feel like where I'm at, where Diva's at, where you're at, it's a totally different feel, because we understand at this point that it takes more than just playing games on Twitch, right? There's a lot of connecting and interacting with people and creating real relationships that go into this, because you're creating a community around you being essentially a brand, you know, and but which is a really cool thing. But you talked about like, I didn't do anything and then I got on Twitter, right? And but that jump from nothing to Twitter alone, that's what I did too. That was the difference maker for me as well. And so I just want you to like talk a little bit more about that and how you make connections on there. I mean, like, did you just go start following people? Did you just strike up conversations? I mean, how did that look from going from no social media to getting into that?
It was a big jump because before that I was never a social media person. I had Twitter, but I didn't use Twitter. I had Instagram, didn't really use Instagram. The only thing I used was YouTube. It was just because I enjoyed that like creating content type thing. But again, I never did anything with my YouTube. It was for me. I enjoyed it. I wanted to post it, and I did it when I was younger, and that was really all it was to it. But with Twitter is I had a Twitter, and I would notice that like these people would always post, you know, like, I'm going live, you should check it out, or just seeing people respond to people on Twitter. For me, when I decided to make that jump, when I tell you, I spent hours. Like that whole week all I did was Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and I followed people. Because at first it's like, I know people, now where I am, I pay attention to who's following me so I know who to follow back. But in the beginning, you're kind of just trying to not like get your name out there, but a little bit. Like you want people to be like, there I am, here I am.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I'm very, I don't know. I would rather like my friends take the accomplishments than me take the accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like shoving it in people's faces
Right.
of like, follow me. But it's so hard to not do that when you're starting out because you need to like build that community. But the
Mhm.
thing is you start to notice once you follow people that there are so many that are in the same position as you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it doesn't
Right.
feel as bad because you know that like what you're doing isn't to be like, please follow me and that's all I want from you. Because I see these other people and they're trying to communicate with other people by just posting random things and like talking to people. Like if
Mhm.
someone posts something about, oh, I love this song, it's such a good song, and I'll see it and I'm like, I'll comment back and be like, yeah, it's a great song. But doing that changes so much.
Mhm.
Responding to people and actually communicating them rather than just saying, hey, I'm live, follow me, is
Mhm.
such a different thing.
Absolutely.
But when you're starting out, like you kind of have to do like the hey, let's follow each other, let's support each other kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Um but yeah, it's really just been because I get asked all the time. Because I had all my friends and stuff, we all started around a similar time of like
Mhm.
trying to get affiliate and everything because I hit affiliate a little over a year ago now. And I remember that time everybody was trying to do it. Like a bunch of these people I met in the beginning, we all have similar affiliate dates because we were all trying to do the same thing. And I get asked a lot like, how do you Twitter? Like I
That's
literally
such a
get asked,
great-
how do you do Twitter? Because you're always tweeting stuff. And I'm like, honestly, Twitter's a mix of different things. It's
Mhm.
one supporting my friends, it's one supporting myself, and then it's also like I talked about like the mental health and everything.
Yeah.
That is something I've learned that when I'm open about it on Twitter, you don't have to go into full details, but just like talking about it, so many people are in a similar position and so
Right.
many people
Right.
feel that same thing.
Mhm.
And that alone, like, it just makes people feel connected to you in a different way. And I've really enjoyed that side of it too. So that's something that when I'm also really random too, though. So then I'll have a random tweet one day and be like, I just had like the weirdest chocolate bar of my life. And I'll tweet it. Like, there's no reason for it, but people will be like, oh my God, what was it? You know?
Yeah.
And it's just that kind of communication with people. That's all it is.
I think it's the relatability because
Yeah.
you know some people like they just want that, right? I think that making real connections is so much more genuine and valuable in the long run for everybody. And
I can vouch for
it's
those weird things.
that was funny, bro. That was a good one. Sorry, I had to laugh at that. But I really do think that some people get in this weird idea that like, oh, if I tweet this stuff, people are thinking that I'm just doing it for attention. It's like, no, like I genuinely like want to talk about this stuff because I'm a real person too. Like I'm not just somebody that plays video games. Like I have a whole life outside of this and I want people to relate to me, whether that's pictures of your cat or whether that's talking about like deep feelings and things that are going on in your life, because so many people can relate to that. And whether or not maybe it's just they feel like they have a friend, or maybe you legitimately could change somebody's life with a different way of thinking or connecting with them on that level. And I think that's so important. I really do.
Yeah.
And we've kind of talked about it too in our little like chat the other day that, you know, I took a marketing like little training right after I started streaming because I wanted to learn more about that. And one big thing that the trainer talked about was like marketing is 80% you, like you, 20% what you're selling. You see ads all the time, and most of the time I can't remember what the actual ad was about, but I can talk about the dog on the ad. You know what I mean? Like, I relate to that because I'm a dog mom. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we see that all the time. So I remember people that stream because I'm like, oh, they were talking about this on Twitter and that was great, you know? So it's really 80% you and people getting to know you. And it
Mm-hmm.
does sound like you have some amazing people that have followed you and that you have in your community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely do.
No, that's fantastic. I freaking love that.
I say it all the time too. Like I literally think that I just got so lucky because I swear I've heard so many people say not like horror stories of like meeting people, but sometimes
Mm.
yeah, like people meet people who only care about themselves and then once they're done with you, they
Mhm.
drop you. I've
We've
never had like
we've seen it.
maybe a little, but
We've
Mhm.
we've 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 seen it, and it's super unfortunate. But I would rather those
yeah.
people surface early on and quickly
Mm,
and get them out. Okay, well, found out your true colors. We'll see you. Hit the road.
yeah,
We've got better, bigger things to do. So we got
exactly.
friends to make, man. So.
That's I that's why I'm just like I think about it all the time and I'm like
Hmm.
I never thought I would be here with these people who were my like actual friends because I
Right.
last year was a year of like everything bad hitting me at once that could just like
Hmm.
keep going and I lost all my friends like IRL
Hmm.
all of them except
Yeah.
one person which is Dragon's Fire the one that um I always
Shout out
stream
to
with and
Dragon's
stuff.
Fire.
Yeah, for that girl dragged me real far out of that mud. Like
Good.
she pulled for her
Good.
life. Um, but other people that I've met here, like I have never had friends before that this is gonna sound bad, but that cared. Like I
Hmm.
really didn't. I
Mhm.
I realized that these friends that I had for 10 years, they're only still my friends because of me. Because I kept pulling and pulling
Hmm.
and like holding on to them. Because as soon as I said, okay, guys, I'm not doing good, I gotta let go, they were like,
Hmm.
what did you do? And then never talked to me again.
Hmm.
So that's when I was like, oh, we didn't care, huh? It was just me that was like, these are my friends, these are my
Hmm.
friends. But
Yep.
It's hard.
people I've met here, when I tell you, I've told them, like, guys, I went through the ringer last year. I have nothing to give right now. They're like, I don't care. And they just
Hmm.
keep pulling me in. And I'm like, who are these people?
Hmm.
Like, how did I find them? Because I just met them a year ago online, haven't seen them in person,
Yeah.
and they're pulling me out of the mud that they didn't create.
Hmm.
And it's crazy to me.
Right.
Crazy.
Right. No, I love that. I mean, it's so true. It really is because relationships are a two-way street. And
Mhm.
if you're the only one ever trying, like, all right, well, at some point you're like, I gotta go. I gotta. Yeah, like you said, you gotta focus on you. And when you do that, though, real true friends are gonna come along. And you don't even know
Yeah.
where they're gonna come from, but they're gonna show up. I guarantee it.
They came through streaming somehow. Definitely didn't expect that.
Yes.
So,
Exactly.
what are your long term goals with streaming?
um it's see, it's such an interesting question when I think about it because I yes, I have those follower goals, I guess. Honestly, now that I've hit 1,000, my brain is still registering when I see that number and I'm like where do I go now?
Yeah.
Like I'm here, didn't know I was going to be here and like I'm happy and content here.
Hmm.
So, of course, I would like love for this to grow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I am very like happy with what I have at the moment just because it's been such a shocker to be able to have this.
Yeah.
Um but in terms of like with streaming, genuinely I just want to keep being able to put out stuff for people because I know there are people it has been the biggest compliment to me in my life of having some people tell me like I watch your streams every time you stream because it genuinely makes me happy even on
Hmm.
days when I'm not happy. And I'm like, you have no idea. There is not a bigger compliment you could ever say
Yeah.
For
because
sure.
that for me means the world because I know that there are times where like I can't smile. Like I
Sure.
can't. And somehow somebody finds a way to pull out, even if it's just once, and you
Hmm.
appreciate that so much. So to hear that I can do that for somebody, it's kind of what makes me want to continue doing it.
Yeah.
And like the podcast that I have,
Mm-hmm.
a thing with that too is people listening to it and like under the post, they're telling me all these things of like how they relate and they're glad I mentioned it. And I'm just like, whoa, people are listening and they feel it feels nice for them to hear somebody else saying it. Like that is such a big compliment to me.
Yeah.
So like in terms of goals, I don't really have too many set goals. It's just kind of to like keep going on like what I'm doing with things, and just if I can keep doing that for anybody, then that's all I want to keep doing.
I think a big takeaway from what you just said is, even though you don't have any like concrete goals, like I'm gonna hit this many followers or make this many videos, you're talking about consistency, right? And I think people really don't understand how amazing consistency is, and that it truly does pay off. I mean, whatever your consistency is, you go figure that out and you run with it, right? If that's a video through, if that's a TikTok 3 days a week, great. That's your consistency. Stick with it, right? If it's one tweet a day, stick with it. If it's streaming twice a week and that's what you can muster and you can handle, stick with it, because your consistency is going to make other people be able to relate and follow your story as you go along, and it's going to gain traction. It's gonna pick up, and it is the unsung hero of all goals, is staying consistent.
Yeah. It is hard to stay consistent though, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Very hard.
Yeah, it is. It's the hardest thing ever. And that's why it pays off so much, because if you can just muster up enough to keep your whatever your consistency line is, and you can start small. You can start with a small consistency goal and then work your way up from there. That's an absolute fact. So
Absolutely. Yeah. That's something I always try to like emphasize to people too, who ever start out, or even like in life in general. I'm putting in so much. Like my parents will see me as like what I'm doing, and they'll see it as strange because, I'm sitting at my computer with people I don't actually really know, talking to a camera. Like, yes, I understand that, but I'm putting in so much work. I don't even want to hear how many hours that I've probably put into all of this, because it's a little ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
And like, in the beginning, you're not getting like the amount of work you're putting in, you're not getting as much back.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it is.
Right.
It's how you have to start if you want to get somewhere with it. And I always try to tell people that, like, oh man, like when my videos are only getting like 50 views, I'm like, well, because you just started.
Right.
Like, yes, there are times that people can get lucky and you can hit off, go viral maybe, but like, think of how many people are trying to do the same thing as you. Like, it's not going to happen. You have to just do you, be you, and then hope that your work is going to pay off. Right. If you keep doing it, it might.
Right. Well, exactly. And virality is cool, right? Having a viral video, cool. It's cool, but it's a lot cooler to have a consistent community that you get to just depend on. Like that is way cooler. Like 100%. So
that's what I feel about. I uploaded a TikTok video like a month ago, and it's almost at 1 million views. Right?
Woof.
Wow, that's so cool to see, right? But like, it's like, I think when people see that too, they expect, oh my god, you probably have so many followers. I got like 50 followers from almost 1 million viewed video. The views are nice, but that's not the thing that like really look, it is nice, but it's not what matters as much, because people can just view the video, they can like the video, but they're not there with you, so it's a little different.
Exactly. For me, I would almost rather like the followers that I do have like my video than like some random person. Like thanks to all the random likes and views, but like I like it when like the people that I know.
Shout out to the randoms.
Yes. Shout out to the randoms. But like I love it when like my friends are like, "Bro, this was a dope video." I was like,
right?
Yes,
yeah.
I tried.
So
I tried for that.
It means so much, and it does mean like, so like with that video, I didn't try at all. It was just like a goofy little thing of me and my friend doing something in It Takes Two, and I thought it was funny because I edited it, and like it was like a goof for her because I knew she was gonna yell at me for it.
Yeah. And
now it's gone, I guess, like viral, and she is like, I can't believe the video that you posted to make me mad is the one that takes off. And like that to me is just like, I don't know, I find more entertainment in that. And besides the fact that I have like a million, it's like that's just like the views, just how many people have seen it. It's nice, but like honestly, my friends talking about it and like laughing about it, so different. It means so
Yes.
much more when they do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That's so cool. Now, I want to touch on this because you brought it up. So you last year was your first year that you had your season of your podcast, and you're doubling down. You're doing it again. How about you tell us a little bit about that? Because I know that you got some really cool goals with it, and I want people to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I started the podcast as originally I was gonna do just talking about streaming, and I was kind of like, yes, that would be cool, but like I feel like when people ask me about my community and about my just what I've been doing, it's very random, and we talk about everything, we do everything. Like I have just so much to talk about, and I decided I was talking to Dragon's Fire about it, and I was like, dude, I kind of just want to do like a random podcast, like one things that like if people see it, they'll click on it. If they don't relate to it, like they don't have to click on it. And
Right.
I want it to be for everybody. Like if you're not a streamer, you could also enjoy something else. So we have streaming is a part of it. Movies is another part of it because that's a big thing I tweet about all the time is movies. And then also mental health is probably the biggest part of it. And it's funny, mental health wasn't going to be the biggest part. Streaming was going to be. But when I thought of a topic that I had in common with all these people, something about mental health was always the thing that came up, which I thought was honestly, at that point, I was like, clearly it's a very important thing that I think everybody can relate to. There's always something that like somebody can probably relate to. And the fact that I'm having all these different people talking about their own things and even hearing like maybe me talk back to them, like just hearing the conversation between the two about it, I think people can really sit there and listen to be like, even if you don't relate to it, you can still understand it,
Right.
And I just thought that after going through that first season, I ended up ending the season with by myself episode of me talking about mental health and just everything and everything I've learned and gone through because it was a lot. I went through a lot last year, so I just kind of wanted to talk about a lot. And that's that's kind of what I wanted to do with it. And I'm still going to continue with talking about some streaming and movies because it is something that other people have enjoyed as well. But the mental health part, which is why I want to make it 16 episodes instead of 8, is it's like there's so many other people who can talk about it and relate to it. So I have a lot more people that are going to be included in it next season.
Yes.
But
It sounds awesome.
How many episodes you got? How many episodes are you throwing down next season?
Well, I'm completely doubling it. We did 8 last season. We're doing 16 on this one.
That's so cool.
And we're gonna upload like it's once a week on. Originally I was just gonna have it on Spotify because I know a lot of people listen to it there, but I'm like, not everyone has Spotify,
Right.
So I'm also put it out on YouTube because they actually have like a little thing where you can take it off as like a podcast, and people can, I guess, specifically look for podcasts on YouTube. So I also put it up on there, but it has been really nice to be able to talk to everybody about things that have happened because I do know I'm young, but like I will say everyone I've talked to, a lot of the times I can relate to it because I've had a lot of things happen throughout my life. So I can talk about a lot of things. And I think I'm at a point too where I don't know if you guys can relate to it, but when it's your own problems, you're a lot harder on yourself about them. And then when somebody goes through the exact same thing, you can easily just give them advice about it. And then when you listen to yourself talk to them, you're like, ooh, I should be taking that too. Because like that's happened a lot where I tell people advice about something and then I'm sitting there, I'm like, why can't I tell myself that? Like, I know I believe that that's true. So why can't I tell myself that?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what that podcast did to me for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And sometimes you really do just need it from a different perspective and a different angle. And I think that with what we're doing here, like obviously it's kind of streaming centric, but we want to bring in all sorts of other walks of life and areas that we can. And so hearing that from you is so cool because I know my goal always in life, I say this all the time to people, is if you're better off in your life because you met me, I did my job. You know, if your life is better because I was there, I was around and I could do something for you, then that's why I'm here. And I think that you got the same boat. You know, you're looking to change lives, and I think you're doing it in a really really constructive way. That's also giving you that route to the creativity behind it too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's this whole journey with everything has definitely been a lot, but I'm telling, it has taught so much to my brain. It is insane though.
Yeah.
It really is. Like talking to everybody and it's like, wait, you know what I mean when I say that? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Hey. It's great.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, more people than you know are going through the same thing or a
Yeah.
similar thing that you are. And so by having that space that they can go to and be like, oh, I relate. I'm going through that too. Like, that's just such a
Yeah.
positive, a negative possible thing that becomes positive because they can connect and figure out a way to work through it too.
Yeah. It's literally like that. Just what I've learned is it's definitely comforting to hear that people relate.
Yeah.
It's sad when it's like I've met like my friends, and actually me and my one friend were talking about it yesterday. Was talking to her about a situation that was going on yesterday, and she was like, man, I hate to say it, but I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly how you feel. And we always say it's so sad that you feel that because I don't want you to feel that, but it's nice to have someone to talk to who feels that.
Right.
And that's how I feel every time someone comments under one of my posts where it's like talking about mental health and everyone says, man, do I feel this. I'm like, I'm glad you relate, and if it brings you a little comfort, but also I don't want you to feel like it is heartbreaking to see when people do relate, but it's nice to
Right.
know when they do. It's very interesting feeling.
Right. It's
Yeah.
you're like, I don't want you to relate to this because it sucks, but I'm glad that you
Yeah.
can. But I'm glad that you can.
Exactly.
I totally understand. No, it's like a sad happy, you know.
Yeah. And that's
Uh-huh.
even like doing the podcast and hearing everybody's stories. It's sad to hear them,
Right.
but I do think it is nice for people to hear it, and you also understand people differently because you thought like maybe it was a streamer that you liked that was on my podcast and you listened to it because they were on it, and then you listen to it and you realize, oh, they've gone through a lot of stuff. I thought they were just this happy person, like on the screen, and that made me smile. But man, they're going through stuff too. And I
Right.
think that also, like, that's what people thought about me at first. Everybody thought, oh my God, she's like the really quiet, nice girl or whatever. And they all got to know me and they're like, oh no, she's really sad. And she talks a lot
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, surprise.
Surprise.
I was hiding for a bit until I got to know you guys.
Mhm. But
Yeah.
it just
And that's
go ahead, Diva. You're good.
that's kind of why we started this, because our hope is that, whenever you went live, your start wasn't the same as mine and it wasn't the same as Switch's, right? And so, maybe somebody will see the tagline of like, spooky streamer, and so somebody goes in and they're like, ooh, I play spooky games, I want to know how to do that. And so they can connect with you and see how you started and kind of get some tips and tricks from that. And so that's
Yeah.
kind of like, why we started this, is to relate to people. And it's just like what you're doing every single day.
Yeah. That's kind of been the goal so far. It's
And
just
you've just created this
relating.
awesome safe space, right? Because you can relate to people, and yeah, that's just so
Yeah.
amazing, so amazing. So, I guess I want to get into like our last like two questions. They go together. So I guess, what do you think that your biggest success in streaming is? But then also in that, like like your biggest success but biggest lesson learned. And then the other question is, what advice would you give in your current position to your non-affiliated self?
Okay, so my biggest success is honestly a very easy answer for me because I talk about it all the time. And I don't know if this counts as a success, but it is for me.
Okay.
Is meeting the people that I have who are I consider my actual friends, because the reason why it's such a big success, and they know, everybody knows, because all I do is thank these people, and they might be like you already said that, stop. Like, I know that you already said that, but I just feel like for me, I can't thank them enough, because I don't think that I do think they'll understand it because I say it all the time, but I don't think, because they're not me, they're not going to understand how much I needed what they have provided for me.
Yeah.
Like, the going from having no friends that actually cared and then realizing they didn't because they just dropped me as soon as I got like a little too sad, to having people who I straight up told, I can't give you a lot right now, like I'm at 0%, and they said, I don't care, I'm gonna keep pulling on you until you get out of there. Like, I don't think they get that if they weren't there, if I didn't meet them the time that I met them, I would have sunk. Like, really, really, like, I did sink, but I didn't, like, I wasn't all the way down there yet. And there were people who were continuously holding on my hand as I was sinking. And, like, that to me is 100% always going to be the biggest success, because I didn't think that that was possible. Like, after going through friends for years and people taking and never giving back anything, and they left me when I was at 0, they were like, oh, she's got nothing to give, we'll leave her. And then having these people literally be like, no, you're not going down there. There's genuinely, of course, yes, there are success in, like, I've hit goals and everything, but that to me is always going to mean the most, because that I didn't know it was possible to, like, have people that do that.
Right.
So that for me was my biggest. I know it was like it's a little emotional of a thing.
I love
but
it. No, I love it. That's okay. We can be emotional here.
Yeah. It is 100% the biggest thing, though. And then, wait, what was the other question?
It was what would you like where you're at right now? What advice would you give to your non-affiliated self?
Oh my gosh, my non-affiliated self.
Yes.
I honestly would probably tell myself so many things, but a big thing, because I remember struggling with it. This is the point where, like, I was getting to the affiliate point, but I wasn't, like, there yet, and I was starting to, like, meet people. I was getting very nervous that, say, I'm putting in all this work, and then one day maybe I get too sad, or maybe it's just overwhelming and I need to step back. I would feel very guilty for stepping back and thinking, I'm going to step back and people are going to judge me for it. I think that I would definitely tell myself, like, it's okay to step back for a second, because as much as you want it, as much as it's something you want to work towards, if it's overwhelming you, like, you can take a step back. Because I absolutely began to overwhelm myself so much with it, because I realized it was starting to pick up, and I was like, okay, I need to put in more. And yes, you do, but if you are draining yourself, you don't want to fully do that, because once you drain yourself to the point of, like, I can't do this anymore, you're going to take a longer break than you want to.
Right.
And that's a big thing that happened, is I continuously kept draining myself, because I felt like I needed to do this for everybody else. And it's something that, like, of course you want to have your goals and you want to push, and you do have to put in the work. If you want to get to a certain point, yes, you have to put in the work, and it's a lot and it can be tiring, but always you are what is important. Like, yes, your friends and everybody you're meeting are important, but they will 100% get it. And even if you're not affiliated yet, maybe you don't have those connections and those friends yet, like, still don't drain yourself too hard, because it's a lot harder when you're drained to get back out of it. Much harder. So, like, that is something that I'm continuously still learning as well, is to, there are times where you do have to put you first, because you're going to put yourself in a deeper hole than you wanted to if you keep just taking too much out of you. So
I think that goes back to, like, quality over quantity,
Yes.
right? Like, you
Absolutely.
want quality streams, you don't need a lot of them.
Right.
You know, your people are going to be there whether you stream 2 days a week or five,
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think a lot of streamers get caught up in that, like, the consistency thought is I have to stream every single day at 6 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
every single day.
Right.
And then people are like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be there Tuesday and Thursday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I
Mm-hmm.
won't be
Yeah.
there Monday or Wednesday because I got stuff going on. And then
Right.
you're like, why did I have 10 people yesterday and I only have one today?
Right.
And so I think a lot of people and it like get caught up in that. And it's great that you've figured out, like, I don't need to drain myself to be live
Mm-hmm.
all
Yeah.
the time. I want to be quality, like have good
Right.
streams
Right.
where I can, you know, be there and not be like a zombie.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I think that, yeah, two things. You said, talking about burnout, right? Burnout is really, really real. And if you have burnout,
Yeah.
like, you need to talk to your friends, like your close friends and other close creators that you rely on, and figure out the ways that you can try to, negate that. You have to figure out, like, what your recharge is, right? Because some people, like, gaming is not the only recharge. There's so many other things in life that, like, really refreshes us and recharges that. I mean, like, I know for me, like, I love spending time with my kids. I love, like, getting out and, like, going for a hike. Like, I love, like, going to the gym
Yeah.
and, like, enjoying life. And then I come back and I'm fully refreshed and ready to go and give it my all. And so, yeah, you really got to, like, mitigate burnout. It's a real thing.
Yes.
it-
That 100%.
So real. And Diva, you're spot on too. So, like, your stream, like, it's like it's like a TV show, right? It's your TV show. And, like, when I got most excited for a fun TV show growing up, like, before Netflix and, like, we have all this on demand, like, it wasn't the one that was on every day that I was excited about. It was the one where, like, a new episode came out once a week and it was that hour time slot, right? Like, that was my favorite thing. And so I think that our streams are the exact same way. I think that like, if we have a couple days a week that we're live and our friends can be there and our followers can be there, they love that, because, like, that's that time. It's not like I'm going to stream for 8 hours a day every single day. Like, I don't expect people to be in my stream every time. Heck, I don't expect anybody to be there, but I love it when they are. And
Yeah.
and when you've got your time and your show, and, like, and that's that, and, like, people can relate to it and expect it and come to love it, it just makes it so good. So good.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
I think the last question is, what is the easiest part of streaming? Did you answer that one?
I don't think so.
Oh no, I didn't
Okay.
ask that one. You're right. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Last question.
Yes.
What's the easiest part?
Easiest. Ooh, that's a tricky question because
She's like, nothing's easy. No, I'm kidding.
Playing
I
spooky games?
it's hard because the reason why it's a hard question to answer is because when I like started my streaming, it was in the year of me being like we were talking about. I know you mentioned burnt out. I was very badly burnt out and like burnt out. Not like
Right.
I feel a little burnout, but like burnt out. And I think that I started all of this in that feeling and like kind of like pulling myself up to like keep going. So it was always that hitting. I also have really bad anxiety, so the hitting the go live button, no matter what, it has nothing to do with anybody else that I think somebody's gonna
Right.
be a certain way in chat. It's always just that like when in my head I'm telling myself like all these people, even if there's not all these people, even if it's a person, I get nervous. And just putting that in my head that, it's live, I could make a mistake or this could happen. I don't even know sometimes what the anxiety is, but there always is that anxiety. So when I think of like an easy part, I personally, oh man, that's, that's such a hard. Having anxiety makes the streaming and the networking thing, no matter how much I do it, it makes it always like nerve wracking a little. But I guess like currently the easiest thing for me is just always gonna be like revolving around like my friends and stuff that I've made. And they've made it easier for me to where
Awesome.
like
Mhm.
just like what's Okay, what's easier now for me is definitely understanding the I don't always have to stream thing.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like my friends will all stream together, and there are times where I'm like, I can't do it. I want to play with you guys. I want to chill, hang out, and all of that. Like, and they're like, it's fine. Like, don't stream. Just play with us. Like, no one's gonna say anything to you. But when it comes to streaming, I guess I'm trying to think of I don't know why it's such a hard
That's okay.
question.
That's funny that
like,
this is a harder question than what's the hardest thing.
I know. It's just like the timing of like me starting streaming is like when your mental health isn't in like a good shape, there's always something that's going to slightly affect you. But I will say a lot of the times that I do stream, once people are in there and they are taking me out of that like anxiety of like starting the stream and like even if I'm having a bad day and maybe people notice on Twitter and I'm in there, they're always trying to like make it better. I would say that it sounds weird, but having them there is probably, I guess, like the easiest thing. Like they make it easier for me.
I love that. I love that. No, that's great.
It's like it's such
Oh,
a
that's
hard.
perfect.
I don't know. I went through so many things when you asked. I'm going through so many things in my head of like easy, but like I don't know if other people can relate to it. But as someone with anxiety and like overthinking, easy is like nothing is really easy for me at the moment.
That's okay.
So it's but people make it easier, and there are things that will make it easier.
Your friends are making it easier for you.
Oh yeah,
you're
always.
Like, yeah, that's awesome. You're like, the hardest part is hitting live because of anxiety, and then my friends are there, and that's the easy part. I love it.
Yeah, the easy part is them easing my mind. Yeah, I mean I do hope that as time goes on, like just in life, not just with streaming, that I can ease my own brain, and then it could be like you asking me the question of what the easiest part is could be a simpler answer.
Sure.
But
that's okay.
Like,
No, that's okay. I love your answer. Like we want your answer. It doesn't have to be simple.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's
I was really trying to make it simple. I'm like
that is totally okay. No, that's awesome. We appreciate you being on Dessert Before Dinner so much. Like, this is our third episode. It's been great. We've absolutely enjoyed having you. Like I said, any last words, anything else that you want to say before we move on and go maybe play some Lethal Company and have a blast?
Just like I really do appreciate you guys having me, because I think also like you guys having me here is kind of pulling me out of because I need to get with my podcast and things that I want to do. Nothing's pulling me out to do it. But having these conversations with you guys today is kind of that's what I miss about doing it. Is having these conversations with people. So I really do appreciate you guys having me here, because it's been great, and it did remind me of that too. So I really appreciate that. But
cool. If we can motivate you to keep doing some great work, then that's okay. We want that. We love that. Yes. Okay. Well, awesome. Well, guys, I think that's a wrap. Thank you guys so much